In the NBA, not every star earns their stripes. Some inherit them. They come in with famous last names, elite training, private gyms, and access to the game most kids only dream of. Born into basketball royalty, these players were handed opportunities others had to fight for. They were crowned before they conquered, hyped as prodigies, praised as future legends. But somewhere along the way, the game stopped waiting for them to catch up. Their talent plateaued, their bodies slowed, their impact faded. Yet, they refused to let go. They still talk like stars, carry themselves like superstars, and act like the spotlight never left. But the truth? The league has moved on. And these Nepo kids just can't accept they've fallen off. Starting with Bronny James. Some NBA careers fall apart after reaching their peak. Bronny James never even made it off the ground. From the moment he picked up a basketball, Bronny didn't just carry his own name, he carried a legacy. As the son of LeBron James, arguably the most iconic player of his generation, Bronny was born into a spotlight most young players spend their whole lives trying to earn. His high school games were nationally televised. Every dunk, every flashy pass, every defensive slide was dissected as if the league's future was in his hands. The media treated him like the heir to the throne, long before he ever proved he belonged. But the game doesn't care about hype. And the numbers never backed up the narrative. Even at Sierra Canyon, he wasn't the standout. As a senior, Bronny averaged just 11.5 points per game. He wasn't the go-to guy, wasn't the offensive engine, and rarely stood out when matched against top-tier high school talent. Still, the machine pushed forward. He committed to USC and was gifted a role on a Pac-12 team, a spot many believed he didn't earn based on merit, but rather on marketability. Then came reality. In his freshman season at USC, Bronny averaged just 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists while shooting a poor 36.6% from the field and a dismal 26.7% from three. He didn't start, didn't close games, and at times looked completely overwhelmed by the pace and physicality of college basketball. His impact was minimal, and his performances bordered on forgettable. These weren't the struggles of a young star adjusting. These were the numbers of a player who simply wasn't ready for this level of competition. Despite that, the narrative kept going. Bronny, fresh off a season where he barely made a dent in the NCAA, declared for the 2024 NBA Draft, a decision that shocked analysts, scouts, and fans alike. But it wasn't about readiness, it was about timing, it was about leverage, and it was about the name. When the Los Angeles Lakers used their 55th pick to draft Bronny,
the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James.
It wasn't a basketball decision. It was a PR stunt. It was about keeping LeBron James happy, potentially long enough to finish his career alongside his son. The pick had nothing to do with talent and everything to do with optics. Bronny wasn't even one of the top 100 prospects on many boards. He didn't participate in full scrimmages at the combine. He measured just 6 feet 2 inches in shoes, undersized for a combo guard with no elite handles, no explosive burst, and no shot-creating upside. The Lakers didn't draft a future contributor. They drafted the son of a legend. And when Summer League arrived, the illusion came crashing down. Bronny's debut was a mess. He finished with just 4 points on 2 of 9 shooting, missed all his three-point attempts.
First shot of Summer League. Bronny over Dane Goodwin.
It wasn't just a bad game. It was confirmation that he wasn't ready for this stage. Over multiple appearances, Bronny failed to show any offensive rhythm, struggled with defensive assignments, and looked overmatched in nearly every possession. His footwork was off. His decision-making was slow. His confidence was shaky. And yet, he was still treated like a centerpiece. He was also sent to NBA Summer League to make his game more polished, but it didn't go very well. Bronny James scored 8 points against Mavericks on 2 of 8 shooting, and scored 2 points against Spurs on 1 of 8-5 shooting and 3 turnover. The most frustrating part is the denial. Bronny continues to speak like someone on the verge of a breakout.
I think he should be in the G League. He's not ready to play in the NBA right now.
Someone just one opportunity away from proving the world wrong. But the truth is harsher. He didn't earn this shot. He inherited it. He skipped the grind. He skipped the development. And now he's being exposed at a professional level he had no business entering this early. This isn't about hate, it's about honesty. Bronny is not an NBA-ready player. His college numbers weren't just mediocre. They were borderline unplayable. He was drafted for reasons that had nothing to do with basketball. And now, with every missed shot and awkward possession, the league is showing him exactly how far behind he is. But instead of accepting that he needs to slow down and develop, Bronny is doubling down on the hype. He and the people around him are clinging to the idea that this is all part of the plan, that this is the beginning of something great. In reality, it looks more like the NBA's most blatant case of nepotism in years. The game exposes everything, and it's exposing Bronny James in real time. He's not falling off, he never rose, and unless he confronts that truth, stops playing the part, and starts earning every minute on the court, he'll go down not as the next king, but as a case study in how legacy can only take you so far when the talent doesn't follow. Now, after Bronny, we must have to see a player whose family has achieved greatness except him. Seth Curry has always lived in the shadow of greatness. The son of Del Curry and the younger brother of Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter in NBA history. And while the narrative tried to paint him as the underdog of the Curry family, the truth is his last name opened more doors than his actual game ever did. After bouncing around the G League,
Curry leading the break for Erie, behind the back, scoop shot at the rim.
And multiple short-term contracts, Seth finally found a role between 2016 and 2022 as a reliable sharpshooter. In 2016-17 with Dallas, he averaged 12.8 points per game, while shooting an impressive 42.5% from three. And by the 2021-22 season with Philly and Brooklyn, he posted a career-high 15.0 points per game on 48.5% from the field and 40% from three. But that was the peak, and it's been downhill since. In the 2023-24 season, Seth completely fell off. Splitting time between Dallas and Charlotte, he played just 44 games, averaging 5.1 points, 1.0 assists, and shooting 39.2% from the field and 35.2% from three. His worst shooting season in almost a decade. His minutes dropped to just 14 per game, and he was an afterthought in every rotation he touched. Gone were the days of spacing the floor for contenders. Now he was getting mop-up duty on lottery teams. Yet somehow he's still operating like a guy who deserves a rotation role, still pushing the underrated Curry brother image like the league owes him another shot. But the numbers don't lie. In today's NBA, where athletic wings and two-way players dominate, Seth brings almost nothing outside of spot-up shooting. He's a 6'2" guard who can't defend, can't create off the dribble, and whose only real skill, three-point shooting, is starting to fade. If his last name wasn't Curry, he wouldn't have lasted this long. This isn't slander, it's reality. Seth had a respectable run, and in his prime, he was a legit sniper. But that time is over. He's now 34 and the decline is obvious. He's not a rotation player anymore. He's a legacy holdover, sticking around because of his name, not his game. The league has moved on. Seth Curry just hasn't accepted it yet. Even with all the Nepo advantages, Seth Curry's fall-off is clear to everyone. The media sees it, the league sees it. He's no longer a valuable piece. At 34, the window is shut, and the dream of achieving anything close to his brother's greatness is long gone. His story is winding down, not rising up. As we have seen the case of Seth not its time to move on, Flash's son, Zaire Wade. Zaire Wade wasn't just given a shot, he was gifted a career path. As the son of Hall of Famer Dwyane Wade, Zaire never had to knock on any doors. The NBA machine welcomed him with cameras, hype, and connections long before his game ever warranted it. But for all the viral clips and training montages, Zaire Wade's on-court production has consistently failed to live up to even the lowest expectations. Let's get this out of the way. Zaire was never a standout. During his time at Sierra Canyon, one of the most media-hyped high school programs in the country, Zaire averaged under 5 points per game and often came off the bench. He wasn't a playmaker, wasn't a knockdown shooter, and wasn't a defensive stopper. In fact, his most viewed highlight reel often didn't feature him making plays, but simply sharing the court with names like Bronny James and BJ Boston. When he couldn't land a Division I scholarship from any major program, Zaire made a business decision to go pro early. Declaring for the 2021 G League draft, he was taken 10th overall by the Salt Lake City Stars, notably just months after Dwyane Wade became a minority owner of the Utah Jazz. And right on cue, the nepotism showed. In his G League rookie season, Zaire Wade appeared in just 13 games and averaged 1.8 points, 1.3 rebounds, and 0.6 assists in 8.3 minutes per game. Those are not just underwhelming. They're flat-out disqualifying. He shot just 27.8% from the field, didn't make a single three-pointer, 0 for 6 from beyond the arc, and had a free throw percentage of 33.3%, numbers that would get any non-Nepo player immediately waived. His PER, player efficiency rating, was a putrid 1.6, and his net rating per 100 possessions was negative 14.2, a sign he actively hurt the team when on the floor. On defense, he was a liability. He averaged just 0.2 steals per game, and his defensive assignment frequently blew past him due to his slow lateral movement. He didn't have the length, instincts, or strength to guard either guard spot. On offense, he looked hesitant, often passing up open looks, failing to initiate plays, and struggling to read the floor. In one stretch of 4 consecutive games, Zaire scored a combined 2 points in 29 total minutes, while committing 6 turnovers and shooting 1 of 9 from the floor. And yet, despite the glaring numbers and the lack of production, Zaire Wade still operates like a misunderstood talent. He's posted cryptic tweets about being slept on, framed his G League stint as a learning opportunity, and suggested he'll be back stronger. But there is no return. He didn't fall off. He never arrived. It was about a player who was barely hanging on to a G League roster being handed a built-in excuse to disappear. Post-injury, his name has resurfaced more in lifestyle brands and family media appearances than in any basketball context that matters. What makes Zaire's story so frustrating is not just that he underperformed, it's that he refuses to acknowledge it. He's still carrying himself like a future NBA guard, still leveraging the Wade name in media, and still branding himself as a rising athlete. But the numbers, the film, and the trajectory are screaming the opposite. In a world without legacy status, Zaire Wade wouldn't be in the G League. He wouldn't have been drafted. He wouldn't have even been invited to training camp. And yet, because of his last name, we're still pretending this is a story worth following. Basketball is a meritocracy. At least it's supposed to be. And while being Dwyane Wade's son might buy you a seat at the table, it won't keep you there. Zaire Wade's career isn't an underdog tale. It's a lesson in what happens when the name on the jersey matters more than the game being played. It's quite clear that Flash JR didn't find his way, but now talk about Patrick Jr. Patrick Ewing Jr. had the name, the pedigree, and the built-in narrative. He was supposed to be the next chapter in a Hall of Fame legacy, the son of Knicks legend Patrick Ewing, carrying not just the last name, but the expectations that came with it. And yet, the only thing Ewing Jr. inherited from his father's NBA journey was the jersey font. A 6'8" forward with above-average athleticism but underwhelming skill, Ewing Jr. never lived up to the hype. He bounced around in college, starting at Indiana before transferring to Georgetown, the same school where his father became a college legend. But while Ewing Sr. led the Hoyas to 3 national title games and a championship, Ewing Jr. averaged just 6.1 points and 4.2 rebounds per game during his 2 years at Georgetown. He was a hustle player, not a star. More heart than polish. His field goal percentage hovered around 47.4%, but he never had a consistent jumper, never displayed elite court vision, and couldn't shoot the three. Still, the Ewing name opened doors. In 2008, the Sacramento Kings selected him with the 43rd overall pick in the NBA draft. Not because of his production, but because of his lineage. He was traded on draft night to the Knicks, his father's team, where the media fanfare drowned out the reality. Patrick Ewing Jr. wasn't an NBA-caliber player. Despite multiple training camp invites, including with the Rockets and the Hornets, he was always waived before the season began. He spent most of his professional career in the G League and overseas, where his production remained mediocre. In the 2010-11 G League season with the Reno Bighorns, he averaged just 10.3 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists, shooting a forgettable 44.7% from the field and just 23.8% from three. That's not just underwhelming. That's replacement level. His game never developed. He lacked an offensive identity, couldn't stretch the floor, couldn't create his own shot, and despite being praised for his athleticism and defensive versatility, he wasn't elite on that end either, constantly struggling with lateral movement and foul trouble. He was, at best, a spark plug off the bench in a second-tier league. But the Ewing name kept him in conversations he didn't belong in. Even more frustrating was how Patrick Jr. carried himself like someone wronged by the system. But that name, ironically, was the only reason he kept getting second, third, and fourth chances. He didn't earn them with stats. He didn't earn them with tape. He earned them through bloodline nostalgia. Eventually, Ewing Jr. faded from the professional basketball landscape. He bounced around teams in Germany, Qatar, and the G League, never sticking anywhere long enough to leave a mark. He retired quietly, having never made a single impact moment in the NBA. No buzzer beaters, no stat lines worth remembering, just a name people recognized, attached to a game no one did. And yet, he's remained active in basketball circles, most notably as part of the Georgetown coaching staff under his father, where again, legacy opened doors that results never could. But like his playing career, the coaching stint also ended in disappointment. Georgetown's record under the Ewing regime was abysmal, and Patrick Jr.'s involvement brought little to no change.